when some of these fans comment, they're like, oh, look, BYU again. Two things. Number one, they win. That's it, right? BYU wins at football.
Yes.
BYU wins at basketball. And again, peek behind the curtain, our whole philosophy of the company, play the hits. Talk about what is relevant right now.
Breaking news, by the way. That's how we go about things.
The second thing that makes it so easy is I turn on ESPN. I turn on Fox. I see a 12-win football team. I see a basketball team that's being dropped in the rankings for winning. Like I see a basketball team going toe-to-toe with one of the top teams in the country like Texas Tech, hosting the biggest game in America on Monday night. And nobody's talking about it. It's like they're still getting this treatment from and Texas Tech got this a bit, but they got to like, hey, let's fly in Jacob Rodriguez, come and talk about it. Why are we flying in Jack Kelly? Why are we flying in Bear Bachmeyer? Why are we having? Do you understand? There was a quarterback who left the program in June, and some kid who just got there led the team to a 12-win season as a freshman, and nobody wants to talk about that. So it becomes easy for me, and I'll tell you, and this is something that I wouldn't have said 6 months ago, but I have come to realize it. When we first got into, our audio's still good, right? When we first got in, there we go, we're back. When we first got into Locked On Big 12, when I was first hosting it, and BYU came into the conference, you realize, like, these fans watch, these fans care at a different level than some of the fan bases that we're used to in the league. Some of the even, it's, what have you done for me lately? If the team's not good, the fans aren't watching. BYU's different. These people are so communal, they're bought into it. And so, you lean into that as a host of a podcast. But then the day clicked for me, where I was like, shoot, man, it's not a pander. It's not a grift. No one's looking at these people. They're good at everything, and no one's talking about it. Why is no one talking about it? So that's the beauty of having now a national radio show, too, that's syndicated. Like, what's crazy? Here I go. I'm cooking. Come on.
Slap at the table. We're in. Let's go.
What's crazy is that they're chanting BYU in Chubby's Orem.
It's louder than it was at the game.
University Mall. It's like a perfect time for the a Ricola refill. So what's awesome about this is there's a radio station, Houston, Texas, that syndicates Westwood One every morning from 5 to 6 a.m.
Okay.
I get to go on national radio. Hundreds of thousands of people just in their car going to the gym, and they're like, who's this guy? And say, here's something you're missing. You're missing BYU. Another Diet Pepsi. Thank you. You're missing BYU. You're missing this storyline. To have a national voice now and to be able to carry the Big 12 with that, to be able to have a Big 12 angle, a BYU angle is incredibly cool. And so one more time, Chubby's Orem, University Mall, whatever they call this Chubby's location. It's proof of what BYU fans are and proof that BYU is a valuable member of the Big 12 Conference. That's my soapbox. That was a 20-minute segment. Would you like to get paid again?
Let's do it.
Let's get paid again. Locked On Big 12. Oh, hey, it's us again. Right back. Jake, today's show is sponsored by FanDuel.
Yes, our good friends at FanDuel.
Yeah, you spend that. It's probably going to be FanDuel, right?
NFL playoffs, man. Let's go.
Yep. NFL playoffs on FanDuel are exactly where I like to go because they're super boost bonus things. You go in there and you're like, hey,
profit boost, man.
I could have won $10. Now I can win $20. That's the beauty of FanDuel.
Cash in every single playoff game day. Now, there's only a couple days left. You have the conference championships going on tomorrow. You got the Super Bowl upcoming. Take advantage of it. That profit boost is only available on game days. You got to cash in.
FanDuel.com, the FanDuel app, official sports betting partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm not sure if Jake and Tosh have gotten in with FanDuel yet, but we'll send them a good.
We'll get them.
We'll give them a good note for that. FanDuel.com, the FanDuel app. Download it today. That is FanDuel.
Hello, my name is John Jensen. Love the show, you guys. I'm a journalism student at BYU. So
yeah,
you guys
J School.
If you ever need a co-host, let me know. But anyways,
trust us, journalism majors get paid the most.
It's the best job in the world.
That's right. My question is, in basketball, how big do you guys perceive the gap is between BYU and the top cream of the crop in college basketball, and what do we need to do to get there, to close that gap?
I'll take this one to start. I don't think we're going to completely find out Monday night. And the reason being is because when you play Arizona, the number one team in the country, in the Marriott Center with 20,000 streaming BYU fans, that is definitely different from when you play Arizona in St. Louis. Yeah. And surely there'll be 65% BYU fans during that game in Arizona, or in St. Louis, I should say. Problem is like you're buying the sessions, and well, session 1 was the game between Kansas and Duke, and so you have the rollover fans, the stadium's half full, and like March Madness is different. It's the games on Wednesday night in Boulder, Colorado that teach you the ins and outs, the intangibles of whether or not BYU can compete with the big dogs.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, this is a squad that is going to have to go to the McHale Center down there in Tucson later on this season. That's going to be a real test. They've already been to Texas Tech. They're going to Kansas a week from tonight. We got Kansas State up right now. These environments are going to test them. But to your point, Drake, when you go to a neutral court where you've got fans from 6, 7, maybe 8 different schools based on how these regionals seem to go. Sorry, I didn't mean
Did it again.
That was completely unintentional, though. But they're going to have to really prove themselves come March. This is just a proving ground to get to that point.
Here's where I'm at. BYU can play with anybody.
I agree.
We haven't seen this season anybody look like we don't belong with them. And we've got guys that can beat people one-on-one. We've got defenders that the other thing, last year when we lost to Alabama, I was at that game. And then right after I watched Duke play, and I saw these teams have more athletes and more length.
Yes.
There was a gap. I look at this year's squad. I wasn't the only one that noticed that because we brought in athletes and length. I mean, AJ is huge. We got Diamande is huge. We got guys coming off that are deep on the bench that are athletes and long. We can hang with anybody.
Well, and today they put a lineup on the court that Rob Wright was 6'1". Every other player was 6'9" or taller.
Rob Wright, the Baylor Bear?
The Baylor Bear, yes. Yeah, but they bring that lineup.
Hey, you guys paid for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Happy to.
You guys,
Well worth.
every time he scores, it's like another $100,000 from one of you guys. Somebody paid for that.
But that's the point. Is they want to have a long, rangy team that is capable of defending anybody.
Yeah, I mean, Duke had a lot of depth last year, but Cooper Flagg was the guy that made that offense run. And BYU's got that this year. And so, like, you know, we saw AJ tonight. If he can pull off a game like that in the Elite Eight, nobody's going to beat him, right? They can hang with any team in the country. It's a big if, right? He's a freshman. You have to rely on a guy that's, you know, playing as a collegiate athlete for the first time.
But he embraces everything about that, though.
He thrived in it today. Yeah. And so if he can continue, like if he can have a game like that in the Elite Eight, in the Final Four, and the, you know, throughout the entire NCAA tournament, they can hang with anybody.
All right.
Yep.
All right, third question here.
Right here.
We got one right here.
Here we go.
All right, well, you can go to that one next.
Okay.
We got one. You, sir.
We're going to go you next.
Sorry. Hold on. Good. You're good.
I took over. Sorry.
You're good.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. I just first off wanted to thank you for doing this podcast about the SEC. Best conference for sure.
SEC.
It's a good bit.
That's a good bit. There's one thing I've learned from Locked On Big 12. It's that the SEC sucks. So my question is, right before Indiana won the national championship, Paul Feinbaum said it was a cute story that people would forget. How far does BYU have to go in order to not be a cute story? Do we have to win a national championship? Or, like, if it's Sweet 16, is that a cute story? How far do we have to go?
I'll start off on this one. AJ said it earlier this season, the floor for this team is the Sweet 16. BYU's best player set the groundwork for what this team has to accomplish. That's Sweet 16 bare minimum. BYU wants to get rid of the moniker. They have appeared in the most NCAA tournaments without a Final Four appearance. They want to have that monkey off their back. If they can get to the Final Four and do that, I think it's good enough.
It has to be sustained too. I think it's more than, even if they win the national championship this year, people are going to say, well, that's a cute story. It's a Cinderella run.
Like kind of like Indiana, because they don't think Indiana can do it again.
Even Indiana, I think, needs to. Now they've kind of sustained it off of last year, right? They were a national powerhouse last year, but BYU needs to continue. Now they went to the Sweet 16 last year, right? So they've already kind of started this run, but they have to sustain it. That's how the Blue Bloods became Blue Bloods. It's sustained success, and you know, we all want a Final Four appearance this year. That'll be great. But to be considered a non-Cinderella or not a cute story, they have to sustain that success.
Well, and Paul Feinbaum's full of crap. Like Indiana, is not
that's
a cute
where we should have started.
story.
Yeah, that's just not
Start
a
there.
yes, yeah, good point.
Indiana's not a cute story that people are going to forget. And BYU can also be someone that's here year after year after year. So we got to do it this year.
Yep.
And we got to reload. We're going to have good guys coming back. But Branch, if you're listening, like, commit to BYU. Like, we got to have.
That would be Bruce Branch, by the way.
We got to just reload. And I think we can. We have the staff. We have the fan base. And that's how all of a sudden you go from That's how you become a blue blood. You got to earn it through consistency, and they did it. Why couldn't we?
Well, and this is a bit more dour on this. You've got to win a championship. Here's the reason.
Okay.
Texas Tech went to the Final Four in 2019. No one talks about, oh, that was cute when Texas Tech did that. You know why? Because they don't talk about it at all.
Good point.
You can do whatever you want, but you don't get etched into glory amongst the powers of college basketball or college football unless you win at the top level, unless you win the whole thing. So it's fun for Baylor fans, right? When I was in school, Baylor went to the Final Four, national championship, won the whole thing. If that run stops in the semifinal and you lose to Houston, internally, the fan base, greatest year ever, man. Love that Final Four run. Nationally, no one's like, remember that one time Texas Tech went to the Final Four?
Yeah.
They don't say that. They say, remember that one time that you saw the national champion BYU Cougars, the national champion Indiana Hoosiers. It's not, wow, Indiana looks so good in 2026, but they did lose in the semifinal. That's a different story. So I think what it's going to take is winning at the highest level, at the highest level, like championships, for sure.
All right.
And oh my gosh, you think these people in Chubby's are excited to hear about this sponsor today?
Hey, come on now. This is a big sponsor. Man.
It's TurboTax. I'm gonna give them tax
Let's
season.
go.
Yeah. They didn't get quite as loud for that one.
No, they did not.
But you should get loud.
Yes.
Because TurboTax makes tax season easy. Tax season doesn't have to take years off your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, Jake, they'll handle those W-2s.
As a guy who has somebody do his taxes, it absolutely takes years off your life. Best part about TurboTax, doesn't matter what it is, self-employed, W-2, 1099, across the board, they got it for you guys, and they'll take care of it right there for you guys in minutes.
No doubt. Great time saver, obviously. Limited time, you can get your taxes done by a local tax expert from TurboTax. Just $150 all in. If TurboTax Expert does not file your taxes for you last year, just file by February 28th. You got a little bit of leeway there. And take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointments today at TurboTax. And happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. Drake Toll alongside Jake Hatch, Jake Evans. We got Tosh McIntosh. Is that your real name?
It is. Crazy enough, that is my real name on birth certificate and everything.
Wow. How'd you pull that off?
And well, the story gets crazier. I have a son named Max.
Sweet.
too.
Good
So
to hear from you,
Max,
Tosh.
Max.
Hey, BYU.
Hey, whoa.
Knocks off Utah 91-78 tonight. The question is, where were you? The day that AJ Debonsa scored 43 points on the Utah Utes in a victory for BYU. Good teams win, great teams cover. BYU did not need to for the Marriott Center to be rocking tonight. Thank you for making these shows. Locked On Big 12, Locked On Cougars, your first listen every single day. You two guys host a podcast as well. A very good podcast.
Thank you.
We do?
And the name of that podcast is, this is your promotion time.
Yeah, Loyal Cougars podcast. It was not named after Locked On Cougars, although sometimes I say Locked On Cougars on the
Did you
show.
say the name of Jake's show on your show?
I accidentally put Jake's show.
He's a little
He's done it a handful of times, actually. I've listened to it.
We're a weekly show on Mondays.
A weekly show on Mondays, the Loyal
kill it.
Cougars podcast.
Yes.
Locked On Cougars, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making all of our shows your first listen every single day live from Chubby's University Mall in Orem following that 91-78 victory. Jake, you were at the postgame press conference. The rest of us were in attendance for this contest. I will start here. If you hit subscribe, we get to keep our jobs. Yes. I will then move to here. We're going to go over what we just witnessed from AJ Debonsa. We'll get into the atmosphere from the game today, and we'll finish it up with a preview of Arizona on Monday, because that's the big hot button topic. We knew that BYU would likely win against Utah today. But I think about Coach Rose today, or Tom Holmoe,
Okay.
right? I think about...
By the way, Tom Holmoe may be wandering around here a little bit. I heard he might be in the vicinity, so
We'll get him on.
Surely,
an
yeah.
eye out.
We'll add that to the rundown. I think about the guys for the last 15 years, 2 decades. You know, 7 years ago? Oh, I did it. I did the 6-7 thing,
yes.
didn't I? 6-7 years ago, for me, I was in high school. BYU on the national scale in independence was cute.
Yeah.
It's the way Paul Feinbaum talked about Indiana. It's this cute story, right? When BYU's good, it's cute. Like, Coach Rose fought through years of winning. He won basketball games, but America never looked at it. You know, like Tom Holmoe led an athletic department that won football games and basketball games, but America they wouldn't look at it. They didn't want to see it. They wouldn't watch it. It's that independent teams doing cute things like UConn in football, right? When they win 11 games, 10 games a couple years ago, last year, this year, whatever it was. See, we don't know because it's independent UConn.
Fair. Yeah.
Tonight, ESPN, Fox, TNT, you name it. AJ DeBonce's 43 points will be on the forefront of college athletics, and BYU will be on the forefront of college athletics because what Kevin Young and his team just did, Brian Santiago, his organization, his program, BYU just did. That's different, Jake. That's different.
No, on that to your point, that's exactly what you were looking for because I don't know if you saw it, SportsCenter, their official Twitter account after the game, asked, is AJ DeBonce the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft? Kevin Young, I said that post-game press conference. He walks up. He said, without a doubt, he's the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Kevin said it right into a microphone. So to your point, BYU's on a level that they've literally never been at before, and it's absolutely incredible to watch what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could watch that game and not think that. AJ's ability to draw fouls,
Yeah.
he went off on threes. If he's hitting threes like that, he's unguardable. And then his dunk to cap it off, like screamed number 1 pick. And to Drake's point, BYU fans and that atmosphere has always been great. How awesome is it that we're finally getting the national spotlight and people are realizing, hey, this is a great place to play.
I'll say this too. This comes after a game where we thought BYU looked good for a stretch against Texas Tech, but they kind of choked.
Yeah,
right?
30 good minutes, a horrible 10 minutes.
For them to respond the way they did, and specifically AJ, right? AJ had at least in his own standards, a down game against Texas
Kevin
Tech.
Young said it is his worst performance of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they went on their run. It was like a 16-2 run in the fourth quarter without AJ. AJ comes in along with some other guys. I think Boop came out and some other guys came out, but the run ended when AJ came in. And I think AJ would tell you that was not how he wanted to perform in a game like that. And so for him to come out and score 43, and not only that, but BYU just responded in a way that, you know, I think Texas Tech is an understandable loss. People are okay with that loss, but you didn't want BYU to lose the way they did after going up 9 and then giving up the lead. And so for them to respond the way they did against a Utah team that, you know, they lost to Kansas State, last week or earlier this week, but they're still Utah, right? They played BYU well in Salt Lake City. It's a team that is capable of putting up points on anybody, and especially against BYU, as they historically have done. Yeah. You know, surprisingly, they play BYU better than they play anybody else, I feel like, in the country. For BYU to shut them down the way that they did in the second half was phenomenal.
I think if the Utah Utes just pictured BYU in every opponent they played, they're a 500 team in the Big 12 for sure. Like I was sitting sideline with Utah, and I think I said it to you and Jake. I said, if Utah plays like this every game, this is a good basketball team. They felt like a complete basketball team, outside, inside game. They're not going to overpower you. They don't have the total size package. But I mean, they're showing the replay on. I called it, didn't I? They're on all the national networks. They're showing it on Fox right now.
Yeah. So, but to your point, Greg, we were in the postgame press conference, and Alex Jensen. You don't very often hear a coach say his team quit. That's exactly what Alex Jensen said. They were making threes. They shot nearly 60% for a long stretch of that. And that's what kept him in this game. And Kevin Young said it himself. He said there were about 3 threes that they gave up that were bad defensive plays. He said outside that, they were making shots. The issue with Utah right now is they don't have an interior presence. If they had that, they'd be far better than they are. They'd be in more games, and you wouldn't be using the term quit in a game like this.
Well, I think BYU broke them.
And I agree.
They were hitting us with their best body punches, with the right hooks, with the uppercuts. Everything was hitting. They were hitting everything. And we still managed to stay ahead. And they asked for it because they were chanting overrated to AJ. He saw and felt what the rivalry felt like last game.
Yeah, he poked the bear.
And then I also think he was sick last week. I mean, we know that. And so I just could feel this coming that, hey, AJ is going to have a game.
Yeah.
And he did. And I think he broke them.
That's very LeBron James of you, by the way. Tosh told me pregame. Tosh said, AJ's scoring 43 tonight. I feel it. I think it's coming.
Specifically 43.
He's given me more credit than I deserve, but I did predict AJ was going to go off tonight.
All right. Here's the thing. Matt Norlander from CBS Sports was here. I was talking to him post-game. Before this game, you had Wagler from Illinois go for 46. You had Kingston Flemings from Houston go for 42. Matt was saying if AJ were to go for 40, he thinks it'd be the first time that 3 freshmen were to go for 40 plus in a single day in college basketball history. So Matt, after the game, I walked right by him. I'm like, hey, you kind of called it. He's like, hey, I'm happy to be right.
Yeah. Incredibly cool what we saw from BYU basketball today. I want to talk about the atmosphere inside the Marriott Center and what it means for the Big 12 Conference. Because one thing that's hard to understand for some fan bases in the Big 12, and this goes for Kansas State, who's been here, it goes for Baylor, it goes for those original 8 who've been here, is the addition of these new 8 Big 12 teams. Like here's what's crazy is we've got hundreds of people here at Chubby's that weren't Big 12 fans 5 years ago. You had no reason to be, right? For the fan bases that were in the middle of it, that thought this is our 10 teams, we play around robin and Texas and Oklahoma, and then they leave, and you think, we're on the outskirts of college sports. We have to survive. That sounds dramatic, but there was a whole conference that died in the middle of that because they couldn't keep up. The Big 12 did, and a piece of why they did is what was in the Marriott Center today. That showcased what the Big 12 can be with an addition like BYU, who got on the last lifeboat. Like Memphis, they can't buy a lifeboat right now. You're struggling to FAU, USF, they can't buy a lifeboat right now. BYU got on the lifeboat to the Big 12, and it's helping save the Big 12 at the top because the BYU athletic department looks so good. Before we get to that atmosphere, wow. Look around you. Come on.
What's up, everybody? This is awesome.
The line's out the door here at Chubby.
I know. This is great.
You can't hear anything, by
Who's
the
at
way.
the game? Who went to the game today?
Yeah, raise your hands.
There we
Yep,
go.
yep.
Okay.
We've got like some barn door situation, Chip and Joanna going on here, and like a swath of people that are trying to listen. They're listening on their phones out here because the speakers are like, there's so many, the sheer amount of people, you can barely hear us. And that's just, it's a testament to BYU fans, a testament to Cougar fans. That's who I want to brag on. I want to pitch it to you guys to talk the Marriott Center and what you saw today inside that arena. Because for me, it's my first time. And I've been across the Big 12, these basketball venues. I've seen Baylor when they were number 1 in the country with some really good atmospheres. But the mixture of not just students and like natural fan pop because AJ DeBonce is dunking on your mom. The mixture of that with 3 students that nail half-court shots and three-pointers to win cars and thousands of dollars. Did you guys plan that for me? Was that for me?
No. I was sitting up in the rafters watching it from Media Row. I'm like, hold on. Kid just made it the Qualtrics $4,000 shot. Then we had the, what was it, tuition giveaway one? Was it $1,000?
Yeah, $4,000 kid was like, what? You get 1 shot for a half court.
And then Ken Garf gives away a car.
I think he was yelling in the camera, that was for Drake. That was for Drake.
Yeah.
For sure. As he's doing the upside down, he was saying, this is for Drake.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. The level of fan engagement. And I'm going to go back because I get a lot of heat sometimes from, oh, this guy loves BYU. Okay, they win. That's pretty easy.
That helps.
On the flip side of that, it's like, there were pieces of the football game like, hey, maybe in a big momentum boost, we don't do fans. Please welcome our oldest fan in existence. Brought to you by The Bank. Like, it's 4th down. They're supposed to be getting loud. Like, I mentioned how we could fix a couple of those things. I thought from a fan engagement standpoint, from that perspective, every school in the Big 12 can take notes.
I think you saw a piece of that when you came to the BYU-Utah football game as well. There, you saw a little bit of the fan experience. It's different in basketball. And I remember, like, we're halfway through the second half. You and I were talking about the atmosphere, and I said, I'm not going to say this is Jimmer-esque in terms of like the entire Jimmer experience, but we had moments like this during Jimmer season where it was one player just igniting the entire crowd. It was electric for the last 10 minutes of that game. And it brought me back to when I was a student at BYU watching Jimmer play. And obviously the student section was on the sideline, not the baseline, but it was electric. And that's what AJ did to the crowd today, in addition to the fan experience team that does they do a great job of bringing fans to their feet, but AJ made that game electric for the fans.
And we've been selling that place out for a long time. 20,000 fan basketball arena. And it was against, though, teams like Pacific and Santa Clara. And St. Mary's was a huge game. And there was always talks of BYU fans. Can you even dream of if we were in the Big 12 for basketball? Yeah. And we had Kansas coming in and Baylor coming in. And
or Arizona on Monday night.
Consider Arizona joining that. So you mix the already fandom that we had that was just ready to explode with now the quality of the teams coming in. And it is a fun place that we're stoked to be in Big 12 basketball.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about it is I was sitting next to some of the Utah reporters. A couple of them had never been to the Marriott Center before. And they're like, hey, what am I in for tonight? I'm like, you're in for a treat. And as AJ started to really erupt and the place started to get really raucous, one of them leaned over. He's like, okay, the Huntsman Center's nothing like this. And I'm like, it's nothing. The Huntsman Center used to be.
Talk that talk. Come on now.
It used to be a pretty good environment.
It was, yeah.
But it no longer is that. And he said, this is absolutely awesome. And that's what AJ brings. Because to your point, Jake, my first year in media was working, Jimmer Fred, I was working with Greg Rebel as an intern up at KSL. And I remember how electric those environments were. And there's that famous picture of Jimmer right on like in the media row with just the sea of people that had spilled onto the court celebrating that. It feels like we're kind of getting close to that level with what AJ's doing right now. And tonight, I think, is one of those moments that kind of takes you back 15 years.
So I got to say, one, we can't talk after the Utah game and me not take a couple shots.
Hey,
One,
please do.
There he goes.
a truth bomb is the Huntsman basketball arena atmosphere right now is worse than a varsity high school game.
Oh, it's bad.
And I mean that
Yeah.
sincerely. That's how bad it is. And so today when that place was rocking and we had the 3-minute timeout media, we hit turbulence. I leaned over to Jake and said, don't you think the Utah players are thinking, man, I wish we had this?
Yeah.
And then I hear Drake lean over and say, hey, I've worked in this enough that I know those players are looking around and they're thinking. So we both had that epiphany at the same time. We've even had players transfer in this year that have mentioned part of the reason they transferred in is because they played here and they're like, this place is magical.
Yeah, I mean, we were close enough to see the players. They had come out of their huddle. They're kind of waiting for gameplay to start again. And they're literally just like looking around, like almost in, like we saw counting Dawes, right? Dawes was just like, wow. And you and I were like, I bet he wishes he came to
Well,
work.
it's funny, yeah, because his uncle Derek played at BYU, so he had to run around the rivalry. Like, so he had to understand, wow, this is pretty incredible. Like, but think of a guy like Terrence Brown. He played at Fairleigh Dickinson last year, FDU, and let's be honest, Fairleigh Dickinson, if they get more than 5,000 fans, probably they're be floored. You probably look around like, this is absolutely awesome. But it's what the Big 12 brings. And to your point, Drake, original point. That's what BYU has added to this league, which is already having some pretty incredible basketball.
For sure. This is, I'm going to say it. When BYU first joined the Big 12, well, there's another really bad basketball team. And it's not that BYU was bad. It was just that Baylor and Kansas were so good.
Sure.
And oh no, here comes Arizona. Like you look around and you think the Big 12 is the class of basketball. I want to give a lot of credit to Tom Holmoe and Brian Santiago. I know Brian's a big basketball guy.
Yes.
They're clapping and tummies. Come on. Six years ago, like there isn't this.
Yeah.
There isn't this. There's independence. And those two guys, the way that Holmoe led BYU, and then your coach that takes you to this great height of we're in the NCAA tournament as a very high seed in the Big 12. He goes to Kentucky, which has been pretty contentious, by the way. It's been fun to watch him lose. Come on.
You feel bad for him at this point.
He goes to Kentucky, which they are winning a couple games now, but in weird fashion too. But he goes to Kentucky. And Brian Santiago, that's his first big bill of order is, all right, who's our basketball coach? Let's go get the number one assistant in the NBA and build a roster that looks different than BYU's really ever seen. So I said it to you, Tosh, middle of the game. Take a BYU fan from 1988, give him 2 minutes. Just give him 2 minutes in that arena and just be like, what's going on? How did that guy just do that? Like it is a different level that BYU has brought the athletic department in the Big 12 to compete in a basketball conference that's already been a gauntlet for Cincinnati, who was fine, and UCF. I mean, it's become a gauntlet for a lot of these new programs. Colorado, who was already playing at a Power 4 level in a really good league like the Pac-12, they have not survived, and BYU has. And I want to go to Ahmed, who comes in from the G League.
Yeah.
No, I kept making the joke. I kept making the joke. The Tosh Jake kept being like, here comes the NBA guy. He was an all-star. He was league MVP in the NBA. Surely this will change the game. Because there's been such an overblown narrative around, BYU signed the NBA guy, didn't they? They must be. But this is a school that's attracting talent like that who look around and say, I didn't get this in the pro ranks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and by the way, I watched Dallin Hall play for Virginia today, and the announcers go, here's a nugget. 3 of the guys on the court right now all played in the G League version of Europe, and none of you are saying anything.
Yeah.
But when BYU brings the guy in or Baylor brings the guy in, it becomes a big problem. So I think it just says so much about BYU, their ability, Tom Holmoe, Brian Santiago, their ability to meet college basketball, college athletics where it is and say, hey, we're going to adapt or die. And in that situation, we're adapting. But still, look behind us. The church leadership sat behind us at the game. It's like, wow, there's this merging of decades of tradition, decades of what BYU is with a guy who played in the G League on the court. But it's the beauty of what the Big 12 has brought with BYU being in this conference.
Yeah. Well, that's to your point, is that BYU proved that they belong at this level. That's the thing. I can remember, I've done this podcast, I've been Locked On Cougars for 7.5 years now. I started during the independent era. I started during the West Coast Conference era. And I always thought, okay, give us a chance. Just give BYU a chance to show what they're capable of doing. Guess what? They've had that for 3 years. They've proved they can belong. Both football, basketball, they're doing it across the board. And that's a credit to what Tom Holmoe, Brian Santiago, all the coaches, all the players, they have been given that opportunity, Drake, and they finally showed that, yeah, we can hang on a national level.